Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Chen. I'm the Group CEO for Sunline International. Today I'm going to talk about how technologies can help conventional banks to thrive digitally through contactless banking. You know, if anyone says that the 2003 SARS actually made e-commerce and even Jack Ma, the current COVID-19 pandemic really made the people's behavior change globally. So people are forced to go online and go digital, in which inevitably this will fast track the global digitalization exponentially. Let's look at some stats. The graph that I'm showing you here actually shows the percentage of usage of bank apps versus any other third-party payment apps for purchase. So it clearly shows that the amount of time that people actually spend on a third-party application app through payments is way far more than people actually using the bank's app to do purchase and transfer. So what does that tell you? You know, maybe let's also look at some of the stats that the during the current COVID-19 pandemic situation. Everyone, obviously, we're using Zoom now, right? So the daily active users on Zoom has reached over 300 million during the pandemic situation, and globally there are more than 2 billion number of downloads for things like TikTok, right? And everyone obviously knows that there's a super app in China, it's called WeChat, and which over 1 billion users, right? So the amount of time that people actually spend on WeChat comparing to the amount of times that people actually spend on a banking app, you know, that if you look at the top 2 banks app in China putting together, is actually less than 15% of which, you know, one of the super app like WeChat. So anyway, if you can do a little test of look at your smartphone, and if you rank by the airtime, the screen time of all the applications on your smartphone, you will find that usually your banking app is just a little dot in the end, right? So you know, banks, you can forget about, you know, trying to turn your banking app into a super app. You know, it's proven not successful in China already. A lot of banks spend millions, tons of dollars on the investment into the mobile banking app, trying to make that into a super app. It turned out to be a failure. On the other end of the spectrum, if you also look at a lot of so-called unbanked or underbanked people, they also struggle to access to the banking product and services, and also at least to find the right product and service that suit their needs. So the key is actually connections, right? So how we're going to connect in the so-called digital banking world? How are we going to connect with, you know, all the banking product and services with all these underbanked people, with all these underbanked and unbanked people? So the bank really need to weave their product services into people's daily life, into their 360 degree of daily life, because they are everywhere, right? Like I mentioned, they might be on Zoom, they might be on TikTok, on the WeChat, they're on Facebook. So, but they are just not on your banking app. So how are we going to make the connections? So the diagram here shows there's 3 very important layers, right? So the open API layer, which sometimes I refer to as an open, you know, a front office layer, right? And also there's a middle layer, the business layer, and also as the heart engine is the technical layer. So these 3 layers, sometimes referred to them as the front, middle, and back office layers, are the key 3 layers to help make the connections. Let's look at that, right? So the front layer, again, sometimes I call it a partner ecosystem layers. So the key stats I showing in the previous diagram, you know, proves that, you know, these days, instead of actually turning your banking app into a super app, you really need to work with all your partners' apps, right? You actually need to bank through your partners' ecosystem, and then banking and onboarding customers through your partners' applications. So the front office layer, which is the partner ecosystem layer, you know, that can include like travel, accommodation, shopping, education, social media, medical, you know, lifestyle, you name it, right? Anything that people's daily touch point, which actually a normal person will leave that digital footprint 360 degrees. Somehow the bank need to weave their product and services into people's 360 degree ecosystem. So that's the front office layer. And the middle office layer is actually the business layer. So sometimes I refer to that as actually the brain. So actually the decision-making brain is actually the key. In the modern world, the decision-making is actually real time. So it's T+0, it's no longer T+1. So all the all the big data driven precision marketing and the big data driven risk management has to happen real time at onboard stage. So work very, very closely with the front office layer, right? So these frames, in a typical conventional banking system, this decision-making platform, this analytical platform used to be T+1. So it happened, at the end of day batch and happen the next day. It's too late. It's no longer relevant, right? So it has to happen real time, T+0, with very, very closely with the front office ecosystem layer. So in Sunline, we call it, BDAP, so big data analytical platform, which is actually the key for this business platform layer. Of course, then in the heart of this is actually the back office, which is the engine room. I call it a technical platform layer, which obviously you need a very flexible, agile, distributed microservice architect to support the front and the middle layer. Right, so they are the three key layers that actually help the bank to weave their product services into all of these unbanked people's 360-degree touch point in their daily life. So I want to share a little case study with you that we actually did together with Huawei in Philippines. A lot of people obviously knows WeBank in China, right? So a lot of people say, WeBank may be unique. It's very difficult to repeat the WeBank success story because WeBank is, live and breathe into the 1 billion WeChat users, but you don't have another, WeChat, a super app outside of China. So is that success story can be repeated or not, right? So we actually proven is yes, can be done. So this digital bank in Philippines is no branches, right? So they just have one HQ with 2 ATM machines downstairs, no branches. But we help them to connect with 8,000, 7-Elevens all around Philippines. So which means that any people that want to deposit cash in can go through this 8,000 7-Eleven as an agent bank. And also we hook them up, using Visa Plus with 20,000 over ATM machines nationwide. So basically utilize other banks' ATM machines nationwide. So any of these 20,000 ATM machines, people can withdraw money, can cash out for free, right? So the bank claims that they can do eKYC in 10 minutes. The bank account can be opened within 10 minutes. So therefore, the number really is right. I mean, you look at the stats here, within 6 months, this brand new digital bank reached 500,000 customers already. And right now it's over 2 million customers already, within 15 months, right? So from a brand new bank. And then, other than the 7-Eleven, we help them to do the cashing and the Visa 20,000 ATM network using Visa network for the cash out. We also hook them up with one of the largest e-wallet in Philippines. So the bank actually weave their product and services, the smart saving products as well as the loan product into the e-money wallet in Philippines, which has a lot of active users in Philippines. So this is a classic example how we can make that connections, how we can help the bank, from ground zero up to reach quite a handsome number of new customers within a short space of time. Then you might ask, how are we going to do that, right? How are we going to do that? So for any traditional bank, it's almost like launching a brand new digital challenging bank in your conventional bank, right? So it's almost like just now the WeBank story or the Philippine story, you're going to create a story within your own bank. So launching an internal digital bank. So how are you going to do that? Typically, there are 4 different transformation passes, right? So if you're happy with your existing core banking system, of course, you can do a bit of patch. So basically, all you need to do is just build a front layer, the ecosystem digital channel layer, just wrap that around your existing core. So maybe that's enough if you're happy with your existing core. Or if you're not happy with your existing core, but you're happy with your existing vendor, you can obviously choose an upgrade path as well. But a lot of customers that we have dealt with in China and also in Southeast Asia, that they're either not happy with their current core banking system, too old, not agile enough, or they're not happy with the current vendor. So what do? Should you go down to the replacement mode? But that's too risky and too costly, right? A big bang replacement mode. So Sunline, we actually coined the terminology. We call it a parallel dual core approach. So let me take you into a bit of details of what do we mean a parallel path. So it's almost like a phase. I call it a 3-phase replacement mode. So at the end of the day, in phase number 3, it will help you to replace, but the big bang actually happened in the end. So what is phase 1? Phase 1 is almost launching an internal digital bank, like the example I gave you in Philippine case, right? A brand new digital bank, starting from a clean slate. So we launched a brand new digital core, which is the green one on the left-hand side, and work hand in hand with our existing core, which is the white one on the right-hand side. Obviously, we need to collaborate with our existing core in terms of general ledger, in terms of customer information, CRF, and also regulatory reporting, as well as the data. But this first phase will give you a very nice clean slate to launch a brand new digital bank internally within your bank. And phase two, because we already have a data lake which we build, right? So slowly we can migrate all your existing retail and SME customers to the new digital core just by migrating themselves. So all they need to do is, any existing customer in your old core, they open up a digital account in the digital core, and they can move accounts by themselves by simply closing the old core and move themselves to the new core. So we call it very gradual, very smooth online to offline migration path. And phase number 3, which is the last phase, is actually the big bang. Because what you need to do for the big bang is only corporate banking, which actually usually large in value, very small in quantity. So you leave the risky part, big bang replacement mode to the end. So what we call a 3-phase replacement mode. That's how we're going to do it, right? So the solutions that we jointly work with Huawei, without going too much technical details, we have done all the competitive testing with Huawei. So our digital core banking software work hand in hand with Huawei's hardware. Like in a layman's terms, almost like these diagrams, right? So, the front and middle layer, the front open API, the digital channel layer, as well as the middle and back office, the digital core layer, work very nicely with Huawei's infra. And Huawei's infra doesn't matter, it's on-premise or in the cloud, as almost like a appliance kind of concept. So we can pre-configure and pre-install a lot of activities, can be all pre-done. So just to give you an example, recently we actually helped a bank in Indonesia, a traditional bank, to launch their digital banking during this COVID-19 situation, right? So through a remote implementation mode. So everything is contactless. So that's how we do it. So to wrap it up, in summary, I think there's a key value proposition that both Huawei and Sunline, our joint solution, can bring to the table. We are definitely fast in terms of the time to market. We're very open in terms of collaboration with the ecosystem. We are very low cost in terms of total cost of ownership. And obviously we are scalable to support. We can support up to 10,000 TPS per second with our digital core, right? So with that in mind, that will be the end of my presentation. And thank you very much for your attention.